The New York Times front page a day after his departure from this earth. Harold George Belafonte's career described as a fusion of art with activism. A major political force in the civil rights era, a confidant of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, among other heavyweights, and a mentor to many artists including Miriam Makeba and Hugh Masekela, while also serving as a goodwill ambassador for the United Nations Children's Fund.
The Secretary General and everyone at the United Nations extends their deepest condolences to the family, friends, fans, and countless admirers of Harry Belafonte. Beyond touching millions with his inimitable charm and charisma in music, film, and theater, Mr. Belafonte devoted his life fighting for human rights and against injustice in all its forms. He was a fearless campaigner for civil rights and a powerful voice in the struggle against apartheid, the fight against AIDS, and the quest to eradicate poverty.
Tributes continue to pour in, including this statement from US Vice President Kamala Harris, who described the King of Calypso as a leader in the fight for civil and human rights across the world, inspiring a generation of young leaders to fight for change. Former US President Barack Obama tweeted this picture of Belafonte's visit to the Oval Office, calling him a barrier-breaking legend who used his platform to lift others up. In this tweet, former President Bill Clinton said Belafonte spent 96 years breaking down barriers, bridging divides, and standing up for what he believed. Flowers placed on his star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame, as ordinary Americans also paid tribute.
He used his active career to be a platform to speak to so many individuals, say, hey, we are here, black people, we matter. And his acting, his charisma, who he is as a person, is just shine. So that's who he is to us.
My earliest memories of some of his albums were when I was a kid, and hearing my parents, like my mom would play a lot of his records, and you would hear some of those live recordings that he put, and that was back in the vinyl days. But those are some of those early memories of music. He's been around forever.
Belafonte's National Order citation for the Order of Companion of OR Tambo in silver in 2008 referred to his life as an embodiment of principle, courage, humanitarianism, and a dazzling musical and acting talent.
Mr. Belafonte, why is...
We sat down with Belafonte at his Manhattan recording studio in 2011, where he reflected on being tapped by the African National Congress to be part of the organizing team of former President Nelson Mandela's first visit to the United States after his release from prison in 1990.
The ANC decided, and Nelson Mandela decided, that he would pay a visit to the United States. I was called by the ANC through Lindiwe Mabuza, who was minister with our portfolio at the time, and then summoned to London by Oliver Tambo to talk about the details of Madiba's visit to America, and asked that I take a leading role in helping to design that. And I thought that they had made the wrong choice. I said, I don't know how to handle anything that vast, a canvas that big. I don't want to deal with all the Americans and people that are going to want to touch the Messiah's garment. I said, that's a tough seat. And after Oliver listened to him, Mr. Tambo listened to all of this, he said, fine, you're the perfect person for the job.
Madiba is said to have been just as excited to meet Belafonte, who had formed strong bonds leading up to the visit with other cultural activists, most notably his friendly relationship with the late Mama Africa, Miriam Makeba.
I took on the responsibility of trying to organize, along with some others who worked with me, on what should be the highlights of Madiba's visit, and those in the ANC, Zwalaki Sisulu and others who attended him, including Winnie. And it was a moment of tremendous triumph. It touched many of us so deeply when he walked off the plane, and he spotted me on the tarmac, waiting down below on the red carpet. He saw me, and as he walked down the stairs, he came over. The first thing he said to me was, "Ah, Harry boy," and here I was a grown man, and he was this older man, this icon. He's calling me Harry boy, and I found it so affectionate. So it kind of threw me, but it was a great time for South Africa. It was a great time for this country to have had Madiba come to visit and to have stayed with him for 11 days, no matter where he went in flight. And I was really his advance man, and I helped introduce him to many whom I thought it would be important for him to meet. Daylight come and me won't go home.
While his activism would populate his later years, he was also an award-winning entertainer, winning 3 Grammys, an Emmy, and a Tony Award in his storied career. Until the end, Harry Belafonte refused to give up on his dream of seeing a better world for all, free of hate, racism, exploitation, and poverty. He went so far as to criticize America's first black president, Barack Obama, questioning his moral compass and his political gamesmanship during his historic presidency. And such were his unshakable principles, his willingness to forfeit the honors bestowed on him if they contradicted the greater cause of social justice, as he now rests in power. Harry Belafonte was 96. Sherwin Bryce-Pease, SABC News, New York.